Last year, we partnered with Stafford County Hospital to share an intern part-time, and that's through the Ogallala Commons Internship program. We kind of liked the way it worked. It leaves the administrative duties out of it for us, so it makes it a lot easier. And so this summer, we decided we would just have our own full-time intern in the office. We actually had 4 Stafford County students apply for this, and we selected BreAnn. She has a little experience with some software programs, and we are really focused on getting some videos made this summer to promote Stafford County and economic development and kind of some of the specific projects we're doing. So I'll let BreAnn tell you a little bit about herself.
BreAnn, where are you from the Stafford County area? Where did you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I grew up, it's pretty close to the Barton-Stafford County line, and I went to school in Maxville since forever.
Okay.
My mom actually taught there, and so that's why we went there. And I have lived all my life in Stafford County, and I found out about this internship. They had put an ad in the paper, and then I kind of just walked in and said, "Hey, I saw in the paper that you have an internship. Is it you I talked to?" Carolyn was just walking down the street, and then I visited with them a little bit, and then they told me how I would apply through Ogallala Commons and such. And I was very surprised and happily surprised that I got this internship. I was honestly expecting it to probably go to some marketing major college student.
All right, so you saw this in the paper, but what kind of inspired you to want to get involved with Stafford County Eco Devo?
My dad was actually one of the founding board members, so I kind of knew what I was getting myself into, but not completely. And so it was kind of interesting, like learning more about what they're doing and such. And I guess what stood out to them was my 4-H photography experience. I've been in the 4-H photography project for 7 or 8 years now, and it just was a fun project, and I'm still in it. This year is my last year at the fair, but yeah.
Was there a type of interview process for you to, because they said they had 4 candidates. Was there an interview process?
They just asked for a resume and cover letter, and then I sent them a couple copies of things I had done, like photography-wise, and then also I'm in the wheat variety plot project, and this past year we actually had the county variety plot project for Barton County, and each year you're judged basically on your display and on your brochure and the information you share, and so I sent a couple of my old brochures along too, just to give them further information of what I was capable of.
When did you start your internship?
I started it a week ago tomorrow.
Friday, June 10th.
Okay. All right. So you're still
a lot in it.
We did.
You're still fairly fresh on the job. BreAnn Anshutz joining us here, the intern for Stafford County Economic Development. Now, I'm really kind of curious about, you said that what you expected from the internship. Let's start there and what the reality is of the internship. But let's start out what you thought this internship was going to encompass.
I mainly thought that it was going to be a lot of in the office stuff and like maybe doing marketing materials and that sort of thing. But the past week, we really haven't been in the office a ton.
No.
You've been to Texas?
Yeah, for the orientation thing for the Ogallala Commons, they have an orientation retreat in Texas, which I went to, and that was fun.
Did you go by yourself?
Actually, I rode with a lady who's kind of employed by Ogallala Commons and runs the kind of Kansas and a little bit of Nebraska portion of it.
That's a long road trip to make as an intern, so
yeah.
Congratulations for surviving. All right. What else did you kind of expect?
Well, I honestly didn't know what to expect. This is the first time I've actually been doing an internship. And so like that, I just figured go in with an open mind and just kind of figure it out as I go.
We hope through this that she becomes familiar with some more computer software programs to kind of assemble these videos that we're hoping to get produced, by the end of the summer. So maybe she'll become proficient in like Adobe Premiere or something. I
There
don't
you go.
know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
This really kind of sounds to me that it was a very working internship, and I say that in means of a lot of times people take on interns just because like, oh, it's nice we have an intern. They're not going to do a whole lot of important stuff, but it sounds like you guys have really kind of laid out a nice plan where it's really going to not only help out BreAnn, but also Stafford County economic development too.
definitely. We actually had probably our biggest day of the summer this past Tuesday. And it was nice to have BreAnn there capturing video and photos of our huge bike and build workday that we had. Do you want to add?
Yeah, it is so hard to document and participate
Yes.
at the same time. So to have someone that was really designated to provide that documentation part of things was really helpful. We had a lot to capture.
Yeah, it lifts a weight off of Carolyn and I's shoulders to make sure. I mean, that's just one less thing that we had to worry about that day. We could focus on making sure all of our bike and build cyclists were where they needed to be to help out. So.
It's Thursday morning, and we're talking focus on Stafford County as BreAnn Anshutz, Ashley Bevan, and also Carolyn Dunn joining us here in the studio. We're going to talk a little bit more about the bike and build, but first we'll take a break in the action. It's Focus on Stafford County on 1590 KVGB. Welcome back on Focus on Stafford County on 1590 KVGB. We will try to update you as much as possible on the severe weather happening in our listening area. As of now, severe thunderstorm warning still in effect until 12:15 this afternoon for southwestern Stafford, southeastern Pawnee, and east central Edwards County. That storm was located 4 miles northeast of Belpre, moving east at 20 miles per hour. So we do encourage you to take protection if you are in the area of this storm. So that will go until 12:15, again located near Belpre. All right, we are joined in the studio with the Stafford County ladies as Carolyn Dunn, as Stafford County Economic Development Director, Ashley Bevan, Stafford Eco Devo Program Director, and BreAnn Anshutz joining us. And I was talking about how busy you guys were. Tell me what took place on Tuesday called Bike and Build.
This is an organization we have kind of developed a relationship with over the last couple of years. It's a national organization that has routes that go from one side of the U.S. to the other. There's, I think, a total of 10 routes, and all of them that participate bike entirely across the country, but their purpose is to promote affordable housing. So all the people that participate raise $4,500 to be able to go on the route. About half of that goes toward the expenses of the bike trip, but about half of it will go toward grants that they give to various affordable housing work around the country. They collectively, as writers, evaluate grant applications and give away funding. So over the last 2 years, in 2014, Stafford County Economic Development received simply a grant from them, $7,500 grant that we used toward the construction of housing in Stafford County. Last year, we received a grant, but we also had extended the invitation for them to come to Stafford County and give a day of volunteer labor. I guess I didn't cover the point that as they are biking across the country, they basically stop one day a week and give their time to some type of affordable housing project. So we had invited them to Stafford County, and it was a new experience for them. I think, generally speaking, they participate in a lot of Habitat for Humanity projects across the country. We don't have as much of that presence here. We do, I know, in central Kansas, but we don't in Stafford County. Economic development fills that role. So when they stopped here, it was a little bit of a different experience for them to see how we not only address housing, but a lot of other things that contribute to community and economic development. And I think they had found that pretty interesting. And just some of the other experiences that go along with being in Kansas during harvest season was also new to them. And I think we're going to be a stop forevermore now.
Nice.
And so we really enjoy it. It's been so fun to work with this group. They're just a really, just enthusiastic, wholesome, just fun group of people that to work with. And I find myself kind of on a high for the week following, not only because it's been fun to meet people from around the country. We had people from New York City, Washington State,
South Carolina.
Yeah, I don't think there were very many. There was one girl from Indiana, but other than that, they were mostly from the coasts. Mm-hmm. And so, you learn a little bit from them too along the way. That's fun. But aside from that, we got a lot done in one day.
Do these bike and builders, they go nonstop, or do they kind of have a stretch during the summer that they do this? Or
it's a 2.5 month trip for this group. This particular group it started at Nags Head, North Carolina, and they will end up in San Diego at the end of July. And I think I don't know exactly what the date was that they started, but roughly it's a 2.5 month project for them. And they don't have any other stops in Kansas. This was the only one. And, we spent the beginning of the day doing work. I mean, that was their purpose, was to have a work day contributing to affordable housing in our area. We focused on that in the morning. But in the evening, we took them to a wheat field to kind of just show them what a slice of life in central Kansas is at this time of year in particular. So we fed them beer rocks, which we kind of considered the local fair, and they had combine rides and had a lot of fun from that perspective. So it was a nice reward because, like I said, we did get an enormous amount of work done in one day. They were extremely industrious. We started out the morning at Gray's Photo Studio, which you may have heard about in previous programs, but it's a nonprofit that has started in Stafford County to renovate the former Gray Photo Studio building. It was a photo studio active in the late 1800s to early 1900s and has its own really unique story, but it's now being renovated to be an artist studio, complete with residence, an apartment for a resident artist. That was kind of the housing connection. We envision having young, Carol Long, who really got that whole thing started, would express that she sees a lot of people that will pursue an arts-based education, but without a clearly defined career path following college. They may take jobs in whatever they can find just to pay the bills, and their art kind of goes by the wayside. If we can provide a more clear place to land, that we can maybe not only cultivate new people coming to our area, cultivate some arts and culture that our local community will benefit from as well, because part of the deal with the resident artists is that they will provide cultural programming and education in exchange for the benefit of using that studio space and living there. So it will serve a lot of purposes.
How's Gray's coming along? I mean, like, as far as the progress?
The exterior is largely done, but the interior is not. And so what they did, they took all the plaster out of the place. Oof. It was all of it on the ceiling, the walls. It was a dirty, dirty job. And then they additionally took the lath off of the exterior walls because the place has never had insulation ever. And so this will allow insulation to be blown in there, and then drywall will go in throughout the place. But in 4.5 hours, they hammered it out, carried it out in 5-gallon buckets, and it's a lot different than it was Monday morning.
Now, I know you had some intentions of doing some other things. Did they get anything else done while they were here Tuesday?
That was just the morning job.
That was just the morning. Okay, wow.
So in the afternoon, we had another project that we thought fit because, we could do it indoors and in the hot part of the day have the benefit of air conditioning, but we assembled cabinets that are going to go into the new Launch Pad Business Incubator. So this will be new construction. It's going on a vacant lot at the corner of 2nd and Main, which happens to be just right across the street from Gray's studio. And this will be it's kind of a similar format. So an apartment space that people can live in while they're starting their business in the space that's available in the ground floor. It's got a kitchen and 2 bathrooms, and all of the cabinets for all of this were assembled on Tuesday afternoon by the Bike and Build group. By doing our own assembly of cabinets, we figure we saved about $2,000 over buying ready-built cabinets, and so it was a good way to utilize the labor that was available to us and further the project a bit.
It's focused on Stafford County here on 1590 KVGB. Carolyn Dunn joining us, Stafford County Economic Development Director. Also, Ashley Bevan, Stafford Eco Devo Program Director, and BreAnn Anshutz, their intern for the summer. I just think this business incubator is so cool. I know when you guys first broke the news about this, and I was kind of excited because it provides so many good opportunities for someone that's thinking about doing a crazy business or even just a sound business but doesn't quite have the means. Have you had any takes or interest so far on the incubator?
It's such early stage. We haven't got it built yet that I haven't really focused on asking someone to consider moving in at a certain date. But I will say that there's several ideas out there that, and we've planted some seeds. And it may not be, only say a college student that we target with something like this. I think that's one good place to promote this. But another idea that's come my way was more in the idea of a business transition. Someone that has a share in an existing business, the partner is looking to retire and sell. They may be interested in relocating the business. Do you have any ideas, Carolyn, on where we could do that? And something like that would be a great way to help that next person get established as well, especially if they're younger, maybe still at the stage of life where they're building their equity to be able to buy the business and so forth. This may be one way of helping get that started.
Things are moving along in St. John and Stafford County. We'll have more of Focus on Stafford County after the break. Welcome back on Focus on Stafford County on 1590 KVGB as we go to the top of the hour, as we will continue to update on the severe thunderstorm warning as it remains in effect until 12:15 this afternoon for southwestern Stafford, also southeastern Pawnee, and east central Edwards County. That storm, last check, was located 4 miles northeast of Belpre and moving east at 20 miles per hour. And this bike and build that took place this past Tuesday, and Carolyn, you had mentioned the fact that, kind of still on that high and that inspiration and kind of motivation after these people kind of run through the St. John area. What's next for those projects? I mean, can you guys start creating some more progress on any of those things? You talked about Gray's Studio and also the incubator. What's next?
Well, the incubator, we have funding that will hopefully cover the basic construction of the exterior building, but we're still working on how we will complete that campaign and do all of the interior work. So it's a work in progress. And, we've just, I think, been reflecting on the idea that it's been just really nice to see people come together in a way that furthers a project in a short period of time. And, the idea that we don't have to wait on this to happen just once a year. Maybe we could be organizing some local efforts that are similar. It was just, I don't know, heartening to see how our community did come together to support that work. We had 4-H'ers that provided, some of the kids in the Foods and Nutrition Project in particular from the Jolly Workers 4-H Club had prepared lunch. Another one had prepared breakfast. The Trinity Youth Group was the one that made the beer rocks, the homemade beer rocks for the group. And Sister Catherine Therese from the parish in St. John single-handedly prepared spaghetti dinner for the group on Monday. So it was a nice example of how we do pull together and what can be done in one day. And I still say, we could do this another couple of times a year and maybe see projects like the incubator come to completion through some of those kinds of efforts.
Ashley, just how important is it to continue to get the community involved in any of these type of projects?
I think it's really important. I mean, if you lose community support, then I think the motivation just goes downhill. And when you get as many people involved in this stuff as possible, it's like all hands on deck then, and the support's just there, and it's well-rounded, and yeah, I mean, it's vital.
It sounds like you guys got a pretty good plan set up. All right, we got about, let's say 50 seconds here. What's up for the intern next? What's her next project, BreAnn Anshutz?
She gets to compile all these photos and videos into a big video to share with our communities. So she's working with Grant Newhold at the Kiowa County Media Center to kind of assemble all of this. So she's got a lot of learning ahead of her, I think, because I can't teach her those things, so that is definitely Grant's realm.
Yeah, Grant does a really good job. We worked with him a little bit for a broadcast of a sports game, and yeah, they do a really good job there. So, ladies, appreciate you stopping in, and hopefully you guys can avoid the severe weather in Stafford.
I hope so.
I know.
It avoids us.
I think so, too.
Maybe not.
That's Carolyn Dunn, Ashley Bevan, and BreAnn Anshutz joining us here on the show.